Hello and welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma. I'm Todd Craighead. The Byron State Fish Hatchery is busy setting up more than 7 million walleye eggs that will hatch and be grown out and released in lakes all across the state. Probably most anglers realize the ODWC has several hatcheries that do similar work, but few people know the interesting backstory. For decades, we have made valuable partnerships with other states and trade different fish species every year. For instance, these walleye eggs came from Nebraska just this week and were traded for hybrid striped bass eggs produced in another one of our hatcheries. So the next time you catch a walleye here in Oklahoma, it's likely it came from Nebraska. And there's just as good a chance that an angler in Nebraska is catching a hybrid striped bass up there from Oklahoma. A wildlife department that makes use of all its resources, including making valuable trades with other states to make our state as great as it is. Just another reason to love Oklahoma and the adventures that await you.
In eastern Oklahoma, where the Ozarks meet Oklahoma's streams, a story unfolds. Dwayne Dougherty, guided by the timeless tale of where the red fern grows, is igniting a passion in young hearts. He's not just teaching about coon dogs, he's showing them the profound connection between humans and nature. He's revealing how hunting, when done with respect and understanding, becomes a vital tool for conservation. With every bark echoing through the trees, he's planting seeds of stewardship, ensuring the legacy of coon hunting and the deep respect for our wild places endures in the generations to come. He's not just passing on a tradition, he's inspiring a lifelong love for the land.
You know, red bones you don't see a whole lot of anymore, like what's in the movie and in the book. But a lot of people have gone to the red and the blue. Blue ticks have been around forever, and they seem to be the predominant coon dogs, or the blue and red ticks. In 4th grade, back in 1978, we read the book, and I remember it was just as a hunter growing up in the outdoors and seeing, hunting around me with my older brother and my dad going hunting all the time. When we read that book, I loved it because it was all about hunters, and hunting coons. And man, I remember there wasn't a dry eye in the room at the end of the book when we got the news of what had happened to the dogs. But yeah, Where the Red Fern Grows was a great book. Loved it as a kid. My name is Dwayne Dougherty. I'm a volunteer with the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife and Conservation for the Hunter's Education classes. I've been teaching Hunter's Ed for the past 10 years, at least, probably a little longer if you actually look at it. I'm getting gray in the face. But today, about 4 or 5 years ago, I had a teacher that came through my Hunter's Education class, and she informed me that her class was reading Where the Red Fern Grows, which was a book by Mr. Rawlings about a boy and his 2 coon dogs, and it took place just east of here in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. He grew up in the foothills of the Ozark Mountains, but when she told me that they were reading Where the Red Fern Grows, I thought, my goodness, these kids today have never heard what a coon dog sounds like. I got some houndsmen together, and we actually went out and trapped a coon in a live trap, and I took it to all the schools here in Muskogee. At the time, almost every school here was reading it. I started that several years ago, and every year now the teachers that are reading the book call me up, and I'll call my buddies, and we will line up the coon dogs and the trap a coon and come to the school and teach them a little bit about conservation.
I came out to help my friend Dwayne with I would call it a seminar, a coon dog seminar, where we show the kids kind of what goes down when you get into the woods, when you have a coon dog, some of the things that you wear when you're in the woods via coon light, hip waders, tracking systems, dog leads, maybe a hatchet or a 22.
Dwayne shares the remarkable conservation success story unfolding right here in Oklahoma. He brings history to life, showcasing furs and the very tools used in the time-honored tradition of coon dog hunting. He paints a vivid picture of a time when seeing a deer in the wild was a rare and precious event. Now, thanks to dedicated conservation efforts, almost every student he speaks to has encountered these magnificent creatures. He looks out at the eager faces before him, and with a twinkle in his eye, asks, "Would you like to step into the pages of Where the Red Fern Grows? Would you like to witness real coon dogs, just like Billy's, barking with excitement at a raccoon treed high above?"
All of a sudden, you'll hear him get excited. Arr, 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 arr. Can y'all imagine what that sounds like? Well, guess what? Y'all are going to get to hear it today. I've brought some coon dogs with me, and I actually have a real live coon in a tree right out on the playground. Oh, and we're going to see, they're going to run over here and we're going to show you what it sounds like when they're baying a tree, okay? All right, on the count of 3. You guys ready? You guys ready? 1. When I say 3, y'all all yell, "Let them go." 1, 2, 3. Hear them baying? So when me and my buddies are out hunting, we listen for that sound. And when we hear the dog, the first dog to strike, what we say strike, the first dog that cuts the trail and we hear them, "Ooh," we'll be like, "Oh, that's old Brutus." We can tell whose dog, you know it's your dog. So if you got a whole bunch of dogs and you hear one bark, you know that your dog was the first one to get on trail. It kind of gives you my dog's better than your dog. I have seen dogs climb trees that were leaning a little bit. I've seen them all. We've had dogs up in trees that we had to climb the tree ourselves and get them out. Can what? Hold the coon? No, it'll bite your finger.
It looks cute right now, but if you
Well, when you hear it hands-on, I mean, you can't, the kids, they each have imaginations and they can all imagine what it sounds like, but to actually see a dog baying and see one barking at a coon and trying to climb a tree, and to see the kids' faces light up and realize that they actually get it now and actually understand that this is what happens and it's in the wild. And
I think that's what it's all about. It just getting these young kids back out into the outdoors, off the Xbox and into the tackle box. I mean, that's a great saying. I don't know who said that.
And once the word gets out that you're willing to help with get a kid in the outdoors and get them hunting, the parents will start calling you. You don't have to call them.
I just have a passion for the outdoors and helping these kids with Dwayne. You don't need to be paid when you get to see the reward of the kids going out in the woods and picking up where you left off when you can't go anymore. You know what I mean?
Hi, I've been on a hike today and stopped to give you guys a tip on one of the things I always have with me, and it's called a 10 Essentials Kit. The 10 Essentials Kit is something I bring with me whether I'm hiking, fishing, hunting, or on a multi-day trek out in the backcountry. First thing I'm going to say you always should bring with you is a first aid kit. This is something I bought off the shelf, so make sure you open it up and see what's in it so you know if you need to add or subtract to this before you get out in the woods and put it in your kit. Flashlight's important, big time deal, but also make sure you have extra batteries. A fire starting kit, and inside this fire starting kit I've got some tinder, and I also have regular stick matches and a Bic lighter. Just in case I have to stay the night and stay warm. I have a shelter. I don't always have this with me, but it's good to show you guys, if I'm on a multi-day trek, I want to bring this shelter with me, or I'm in the backcountry, I'll bring this shelter with me, and that's in case I have to stay a night. I can pop a tent up really quick. Food. This is in addition to my trail food. Maybe I packed a trail lunch for the day or something to eat while I'm out fishing or hunting. This is extra in case I'm stuck out in the woods for an extra night or two. Navigation is important. Most people have their phone, but your phones can die. And also if you might be in an area you forgot to download the maps of. So having this and an actual hard copy of the map that you're hiking is very important. A rain jacket. And this is very important, and this may change up based on the time of the season, so you might also pack a beanie and some gloves. Another important thing to bring is sun protection. This is a wide brim hat. I had this hat on. This is even better because I can keep that sun off the back of my neck. And inside here I also have some sunscreen and some lip balm. You know, it's important to stay from, keep from getting dehydrated. A simple knife. This is in case something ends up breaking, I can fix it. And then, most importantly, would be water. And this is a good tip too, is if you find yourself halfway through with your water on your hike, you're halfway done with your hike. It's time to head back to the car. And then a whistle. This is in case you get lost, you break a leg. Very important for kids to have these whistles on them. A lot of times these hiking backpacks have one built in, but in case they don't, go ahead and buy one off the shelf and then attach it to whatever backpack you're using. So that's the 10 Essentials Kit. I want to encourage everybody to make their own 10 Essentials Kit. Use my recommendations, keep it lightweight and small so you can use it every time you're out hunting, hiking, camping, fishing in outdoor Oklahoma.
Names for our fish and wildlife don't always measure up, but the name red ear slider is a near custom fit for our state's most abundant turtle. They have red markings behind the eye just above the covered ear canals, and basking turtles are well known for sliding into the water when disturbed. Red ear sliders may spend a lot of time in or around the water, but their nest must be on dry land. Females will dig a small chamber in the ground and deposit 3 to 17 eggs depending on her size. The eggs hatch in a few months, and the quarter-sized turtles typically emerge in late summer. Like many other Oklahoma turtles, the red-eared slider is a late maturing and long-lived species. Males may live 3 to 5 years old before they're large enough to reproduce, and females may take 8 years to reach a mature size. Individuals can live for 20 to 30 years, and their shells and bodies may darken with age. If you enjoyed learning about Oklahoma's incredibly diverse fish and wildlife, I encourage you to share your own field notes. Uploading your photographs and sighting details to apps like eBird and iNaturalist is one of the best ways to get involved in conservation.
We're out here at Kaw Lake today. We're sampling for blue catfish. We do this every couple of years to monitor population growth and make sure that people are able to still have satisfying blue catfish in here at Kaw Lake, one of the best blue cat fisheries in Oklahoma.
Lots of fish, some shad, and a bunch of blue cat. If I had to make a professional decision, I would say they're blue cat. We can't be sure. They could be gar, but I think they're blue cat.
Oh, all out in front of you, man. Straight right up there, some bigger ones. To your right. Jeez. Jeez. Freaking nuts. God. Dude. Okay. No. Yeah.
Fisheries where it gets tough. A lot of times you set a net, you don't catch very many at all, and then sometimes you set a net and there's so many fish that they fill every spot. That's the same thing with shocking. You get a guy with a net and 150 come up, you're only going to get as many as the guy can catch. So that's good to see.
We started out early this morning, went out and started pulling up some really good fish. Had quite a few sites that we've had good success and continued. We brought them back here at the workup area where we take length, weight, and we collect otoliths for age data that'll help us determine growth of the population over time, and we can make sure that the fish are growing at a good rate so that anglers are satisfied by the size of the fish that they catch.
604, 2470. 414.
All right. So this is an otolith. That's how we age fish. We'll mount that in epoxy, section it, look at it underneath a microscope and count the rings, just like you would tree rings.
Blue cat electrofishing is different than normal electrofishing. These fish can come up hundreds of yards away from our actual shock boat. So in order to be able to sample these effectively, we have multiple chase boats running around catching these fish. The actual electrofishing boat cannot go very fast or else the electricity breaks and we end up losing fish. But with this chaos going on, we have to make sure that safety is a foremost important, that boats don't collide, people are yelling, shouting, pointing where fish are, because as soon as one comes up, you want to be sure to get it before he ends up going down. We've been monitoring Kaw Lake's catfish population for a few decades now, since the lake's been impounded. In recent years, we started looking at evaluating our 1/30-inch length limit that we had. We had some initial research that was conducted in 2017 and 2018 that we've released, wanting to continue looking at that to see if it changes. Since these are long-lived fish, it takes a long time to be able to see changes, since some of these fish can be over 30 years. Monitoring these blue catfish, we are able to better determine if regulations that we have in place are being effective, and if not, do we need to adjust and make them where they're more effective. Currently, blue catfish regulations are really trying to target at having as many fish over 30 inches stay in the population so that more anglers have opportunity to catch those. That's the one fish over 30 inches a day. If we see deviations where we're not getting those fish up there, we may have to adjust a little bit so that we are meeting the goals of the anglers and the fish biologists that are representing them. Currently, everything's looking just fine. It's still early on, since it's been only just over 10 years since we made this. Again, these fish are long-lived. It takes long periods of time to see changes. But right now, we are not seeing anything that suggests that we need to make any difference. We still have a lot of fish. There's a lot of opportunity with our 15 fish bag limit for blue catfish and channel catfish combined. There's still a lot of opportunity to catch a lot of fish under 30 inches each day. And if you do have that awesome fish over 30 inches, you're able to keep one a day too.
Well, we hope today's stories remind you that Oklahoma is a perfect place to explore. So no matter how you choose to enjoy our state's incredible natural world, remember, your adventure starts with Outdoor Oklahoma.
Okay.
That works.
I think so.
Okay. So what does the actual dye do again? When you put the dye in? Outdoor Oklahoma is produced by the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation and is proud to serve and be funded entirely by sportsmen and women and outdoor enthusiasts who love and appreciate all things wild in the great state of Oklahoma. Just a visual indicator. And the peroxide is to do what?
So that's to kill any kind of...
Remember when you pooped your pants in the 4th grade? Everybody knows you cry yourself to sleep. Blink! I think your bald spot's kind of cute. Oh, that's where it all went. Oh, it's a little hair bunny. Now wacky whack it. Yeehaw! Oh, is that a new wrinkle? This guy. Oh, she's never gonna love you like she loves that food!
Honey, do you need to speak to someone about the Kristen Chenoweth in the room?
Yeah, I do.
We all have our burdens. Call or text 988 to get yours off your back.
No.
And just like that, she starts to grin. A special flame's been lit within. The spark of something new begins. There's something in the water. On her own, she's in the zone. Determination can't be thrown. Resilience building in her bones. There's something in the water. With her gator on and her waders on, she can tackle anything till dawn. There must be something in the water. On and off the boat she flies. The sky's the limit, she's soaring high. She's a force of nature on the rise. There's something in the water.